I'm
and
ready when
difficulty
you
finding all my lists.
You don't even have any lists.
You don't know that.
You might be right, actually. I know nothing about your computer and the files that you keep on there, Brian.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So, I have this idea where the thumbnails that we post for our videos and stuff, I mean, we can do custom thumbnails and stuff like that. Like, I mean, if you've already seen, like, the last podcast that we made, the thumbnail is basically my animated image and your animated image, and it's just the name of the podcast in the thumbnail.
Right.
Well, I'm thinking as we start posting more and more content, like when you start to look through, you'll look through the upload list and everything like that, and you'll see we'll have the podcast videos, we'll have our shorts, and we'll have the AWRs. What I'm thinking is, what if we color-coded the thumbnails in some way? Like maybe in the top right corner, there's like AWRs, like maybe they'll have like a blue border around the whole thumbnail, or something like that, just to kind of give off the idea of an AWR. I mean, I know the thumbnail is going to be designed specifically for an AWR, and we'll have a design for it and everything, but what do you
What
think?
if we just have a border around the entire thumbnail that's color-coded?
I think that'd be cool, because like, if then as you're scrolling down, like maybe I want to look for just the highlights. Maybe we could do like the same color of the AWR border, but then like cut it in half. You know what I mean? Like maybe diagonally and make the other color like yellow for highlight or something like that. I don't know. Maybe even make like little tiny emblems that we can attach to the border in some like seamless way. And I feel like if we do that, it'll make it quicker. Like if someone's looking through our catalog of videos, can find AWRs by looking for the blue bordered videos, you know?
Yeah.
Like if they don't care for the podcast or the shorts, but they only want to watch AWRs, they don't have to sit there and read titles. It'll be a lot quicker visually if they see the blue borders, you know, something like that.
Could
What do you
work.
think of that idea?
The only problem I see with that is I don't want the borders to clash with the actual thumbnail.
Yeah.
Because it's just gonna look tacky.
Yeah, I mean, I would look at a certain way of, I guess, mixing the thumbnail and the color of the border in some fashion. Like the color that we have going on for the Bitflake podcast right now, the color scheme is, you know, the default blue that we use for pretty much everything Bitflake.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like what I could do for the podcast is maybe just do like a really deep onyx blue or something. Or just even make like an emblem for the podcasts. Like, you know, the maybe like the icons that I made for our website, like those pixelated icons for the buttons.
Yeah.
The navigation. Maybe we could use those.
That might be a better idea.
And then maybe situate them in like the top right corner with like a colored background for the emblem, maybe. So like if we're doing the podcast, we can use like the little speaker I drew and then make it like I don't know,
So, my internet died, and there was no clever way to edit this, so I'm just gonna resume where we left off. Okay, bye.
So, I think it'd be cool though to have like, you know, the icons that I drew or something, or just any icon that we can use for the emblem, whatever you want to use. And we can color code the icons, not the icons, but maybe put like a little circle and put the icon inside of the circle. But color code the circle to whatever the video type is. So if it's an AWR, we can make it like a blue or green or something. And the emblem is just kind of another way of showing off what's going on.
The only reason I have a problem with the color is because I don't want it to clash with what the actual thumbnail is. Because it works when we have static backgrounds, like the AWR and the podcast, but if we have like a short where the thumbnail is just a screenshot of the short, that changes often. And if we choose like purple, and one week the short happens to be a majority yellow, then that just looks really bad.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Then maybe we could just go with the emblem.
I think that's best. If you make it big enough, I think it's fine.
For the shorts in specific, we could just drop that idea overall.
Maybe, yeah.
And because, I mean, AWRs are going to be very consistent and content-based. It's going to have a constant color scheme because it's what we're going to follow for that series. Whereas, like, you know, the shorts, that's going to be its own thing every single time. It's going to be a short, but it's not going to be a set of shorts. Now, if it's like a series, like, I mean, we talk all the time about making different series. And if we were to do a series, then it would be a different story. Maybe to do a border for that or something. Maybe not even do a border, because I guess when it comes to something that's more story driven or more series or more short based, anything along those lines, we should probably just drop that idea overall. Or we could do just an emblem and maybe find a way to blend it in with the thumbnail in some way. Like just a camera emblem, you know?
Yeah.
And
I'd be
maybe just
fine with
kind of
that
blend it.
because the idea that the emblems are standardized, so they're all going to be blue,
Oh yeah.
which is good. But if you start putting the block color, I think it gets really muddy.
What color?
Yeah, like the circle or the border or something like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. Maybe we could, I mean, the other thing we could do is literally just put the emblem in there somewhere. But we'd have to make sure it sticks out in such a way.
Yeah, I think that's best. If we standardize all the emblems and make them the same color, and the
Yeah.
thing that you recognize is the actual shape of the emblem instead of the color, I think that
Yeah.
would be the best direction.
Something along those lines, yeah. And we would have to make sure the emblem's a little relatively distinct in such a way.
I think they're good enough right now.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, it's a camera and a microphone, or actually a speaker, and you can understand that. I think
Yeah.
fairly
Well,
easily.
I might have to, or I might just end up making new ones, because I mean, I'm thinking like AWRs are videos, and so are shorts, but podcasts are audio, mostly audio. What would we do for AWR, you know?
Yeah,
I think I would have to draw something up. I mean, that can come later in time, but I mean, I'll discuss that with you. Like, I'll probably draw something and just kind of send it to you, and we'll see what we can go from there, and maybe find out if we want to standardize any of those emblems. And if not, I mean, we don't have to do that, but it's just like a thought of maybe an easier way to browse.
yeah,
So that's just an idea that I thought of. Because and I mean, I got it from inspiration on the channel Film Riot. You ever watch his stuff?
that name sounds familiar.
He does like a lot of behind the scenes and stuff to his shorts, but also kind of teaches you how to do different things with camera work, lighting, and After Effects and stuff. It's a really interesting channel, and I like to I like to watch through it quite often, mostly for After Effects tutorials. And the thing that he does is he kind of has, I mean, not color borders, but his thumbnails kind of represent what kind of video it's going to be in certain ways. Like if it's a
Yeah, I
behind
see
the
what you mean.
scenes, yeah, if it's like a behind the scenes, he'll usually have like a full kind of thing going on with like the full image. Whereas if it's like an After Effects tutorial, usually that's kind of pointed out as well. It's just like a certain way of showing, I think, the thumbnail. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I was thinking we could try something along those lines, mostly as inspiration of what they do. I mean, not follow directly what they do, but just get like, just they basically identify their videos through the thumbnail.
yeah. I think maybe
Before
what we
you
should
click it.
do is get some mock thumbnails up just to see with all the different styles, with borders, with emblems, with circles and stuff like that, and just see which one we think fits the best.
Yeah, I can make a grid of images for you of different styles that I have in mind already.
Because I think that is a very good idea. We should definitely do that, but the way in which we do it needs to.
Yeah, especially with our design. I mean, we go for simplicity with complexity. Like our backgrounds tend to have complex things, while our logos and general styling of logos right now is like very simple and has the 8-bit thing going on.
Yeah.
Which, comes to think of it, that's a really interesting mix. Never really thought about how I'm actually doing that. But anyway, we'll look into that. I'll send you some mock things and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, regarding, I mean, I just brought up like AWRs and the thumbnails and stuff like that. AWRs in specific, we played Payday.
We played Payday.
Last weekend we played Payday. And, um, you know, the problem that I had with our last play session was that it's not that we have to try and be funny for an AWR to work, it's that we need to not focus so much in our minds of what we're doing in the game, but rather try and speak our minds a little bit more. Because when I go and watch the old AWRs we used to do, like we would say anything
Right.
at all that came to our mind. And I mean, yeah, it was when we were playing against each other, like Team Fortress 2 and stuff like that. But like we seem to get in this mood where we just start spouting out things that hit us, and that usually ends up making for really stupid comments and stuff like that. And it's kind of worth watching the video because we're spouting out anything that comes to mind. Whereas when we were playing Payday last weekend, like we didn't do that very much until near the end, where I guess we started getting goofy. Like we just stopped caring a little bit in such a way that we just kind of started getting a little goofy, and we started speaking our mind a little bit more. We focused too much of the inside the game when we played Payday last time, and I think it's because we haven't been in the groove of doing things like AWRs and group plays. We just haven't played games a lot recently.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? I mean, like, I feel like we just need to speak our mind more.
I think it was also specific to Payday because I have a special love for Payday.
Yeah.
And so, especially in that first day when we weren't doing too well, I put all of my resources into focusing on getting through.
Yeah.
So I was looking for specials and seeing where the police were coming from, and that resulted in me only saying what was necessary to get through the day.
Yeah.
I think if we play a game where you don't necessarily fail, I think a lot of that commentary is going to come out more, because a game like Monaco, where even if you get caught, you don't fail immediately.
Yeah.
Whereas in Payday, if we all get knocked down by a police wave, like that's it, we have to start over again. So I was focusing far too much on making sure we got through each wave and stuff like that. I think if we go to play Monaco or TF2, where we're just laid back and relaxing, I think our commentary is going to be much more emergent.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's more. I mean, we've said once before how like it's a lot of whenever we're versing each other, like Team Fortress 2, we're playing against each other in that game, and we got a lot of backhanded comments, but sometimes things come out funnier than we mean to say, and things get interesting when we start facing each other. And Monaco, I mean, we're doing co-op, but yeah, that's also kind of like a scatter thought game where you don't really have to focus. Like what you see is what you do. And I understand, yeah, Payday, I guess you just gotta make sure you don't lose. But I guess really, if we want to try and get commentary like that out of a game like Payday and games that require more focus, I feel like it has to be a game that we've played through said missions or said stages so many times where we truly don't feel like we have to try anymore.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes out to be more of a laid back kind of, we're just playing this game to play the game and enjoy ourselves as a party rather than we're trying to beat the game right now.
I think that's why TF2 was so successful, because we all know what we're doing in TF2. We've all played that map hundreds of times. I've used these weapons hundreds of times. Like, even if I lose, I don't even really care, just because I've done it so many times.
Pretty much, yeah. Same here. Well, yeah, I mean, even if you think about, like, the PlanetSide video, we were aimless. Like, when we first started, we didn't really seem to care too much about trying to get, like, the objectives in the game. We just kind of wanted to run around and just learn the game before we started going for, like, the objectives and all the strong points of the game. And that's why that was funny. And, like, once we got used to the game and how to play it, we got acquainted with what it is we're really supposed to do in that game. That's when we started taking it seriously.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true.
So I think the other thing is when we find a new game that we've never played before, we need to all play it together and just see how much we really suck at the game before we truly start to get into it.
Yeah.
Because the same thing happened with, like, Arma. Like, that video was good because we were trying to do it seriously, but at the same time, we've never really done that many Arma missions together. And then after that video, when we did try to play Arma, we actually tried to do it seriously.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it comes down to we either have to have played the game so many times, or we need to have basically barely played the game. Or it just needs to be a game that is just generally, like, stupid fun. Like,
yeah, that would work too.
I mean, I'm thinking like that Castle Crashers video, I mean, I've still never beat that game because I'm just dumb and I've never decided to actually play the whole game. And the reason why I think that worked out is just because the game is kind of stupid fun.
Yeah,
it
it's
can be
just it's
hard.
mindless fun.
It's like you press the buttons and you beat the things up and you win. Well, sometimes you win, other times you don't win, but it needs to be games a little bit more evolved around that as well. Because I honestly feel like when it came to Payday, I'm sure there are parts, even in serious tone, that we could have spoken our mind a little bit more. Because even if the video is going to be serious rather than funny, I think it would be good to just have commentary, overall, in some way speak seriously, even just to get something down for the long video of AWR. Because it's not that they always have to be funny, but in times where we're trying to be serious and we speak our mind all the time, if something happens and we say it in a tone that's completely opposite of the serious tone, I think it'll add to the humor.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. What games do you think would apply in that nature?
Well, we're all fans of Dota in some way. If we were ever to even try and make a game in AWR out of a game like Dota, and this is the most harsh example I can think of because of how seriously Dota can actually be taken.
Yeah.
We would have to speak our mind in every way possible, like even during the beginning laning phases, stuff like that. We would just have to speak our mind and just kind of talk to each other and stuff. Um, like even if it's not the game itself, we just need to have some sort of commentary going on and just kind of speak a little bit more about what's going on in our minds. Even if it just means like I'm going back to base to get a bottle. Like just say that. You don't like you're gonna do it, and I'm gonna assume because your health is low, you're gonna do it. But say it to me anyway, because it could spark thoughts in my mind to say something else back to you or say something stupid. You never know, you know.
Yeah.
So even in the most serious case, like a game of Dota, I think speaking your mind is important when it comes to that, so it can sort of give me an idea of something else to say back to you, and that'll get the back and forth commentary that we need in a video like an AWR. And
I
then
think that would
you'll have shenanigans, and that's where the funny stuff happens.
yeah, I think that would be the entire backbone of a video of like Pool Nation, for example.
Oh yeah,
Pool Nation
actually yeah.
is somehow a hilarious game. Purely because of our
With the right
commentary.
settings. Well, yeah, I mean, like Pool Nations, like
We should play
that,
Pool Nation actually. That should be the next AWR.
I'm totally cool with that.
I think we should totally do that.
We can do that after we're done here. But I mean, a game like Pool Nation, the reason why it's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be really boring to watch something like that.
Yeah.
But because we know we're not going to take it seriously, because it's not like we're getting anything out of the game. And that's the thing. We have to, whenever we're playing a serious game and we're going for a commentary based AWR, we have to get in the mindset of, all right, I'm doing this for the sake of the entertainment now, of just enjoying myself, the game, and my friends, rather than I'm trying to win the game. I think if we also put ourselves in a mindset like that, it'll start to spark the fun. Because Pool Nations, you can either try and win, or you cannot care at all, and it can be funny. Kind of like what happened when we played that one time.
Yeah.
Like we did not care who won. We just did stuff, and it was funny. And the things that we said, and just the way things happened, it was a blast. Probably the most boring game we could play, and I think we had more fun in that game than we did in most games that we play.
Probably, yeah.
Like, so.
My ribs hurt, like after we were done with that.
Oh,
Like
I know. I couldn't
it
breathe.
was
It was that funny.
now we're hyping it up too much, like
I think we are.
it's not that funny really.
It was to us in the moment.
It was to us, but we are easily pleased.
We are, and I mean, some people get pleasure of other people's pleasure, but I mean,
But
I don't know.
yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to say, I think we need to talk more, or at least keep in mind, because you guys know when I'm recording sometimes, and
Sometimes.
when you do, it's probably good to just realize maybe it's probably a good idea to say everything in my mind. Like if you're thinking I need to reload, don't just think I'm gonna reload. Just say it, or say like I'm gonna reload now, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because even if an AWR becomes a serious video, it's still a video we can put out there. It still has commentary, and maybe the serious factor might make it humorous in some way when we start freaking out.
Yeah.
So I think we just need more commentary, and that's just my general line of thought for that. Now, we had, I mean, because of that, I ended up having difficulties with the editing
Right.
because we just didn't have enough footage with commentary, and an entire gameplay session that could have been an AWR was not really thrown away. It just wasn't AWR material because we didn't have the commentary. Like the AWR that we're going to post, well, that we've I guess posted, will be not of quality that I would accept normally,
Right.
but I'm putting it out for the sake of getting things rolling. Got to start somewhere. So,
Yeah, we need to get on this schedule because, I mean, in the past, we've tried to take on more than we can handle,
oh
and we
yeah,
really just need to get on this simple schedule to get things going.
definitely.
And once we can get this down without a worry, then we can start looking at, okay, maybe we can take some of these scripts we have for these series and start making that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really the problem was we were trying to aspire for things that were really large in
Yeah.
Bitflake while not having anything to prove to ourselves that we can even do the small things.
Like we have, I think we have like 5 seasons of roommates,
Yeah.
like in our heads right now.
We do.
But there's no way we could do that just off the bat.
No way. We need to get things in some sort of motion. We need to capture an audience. We just need to become somewhat captivating to even ourselves as creators. Because we know we have the ideas and the power, but the big thing comes down to, do we have the proof that we have done it already?
Right.
Do we have the proof that we can continue to do it, you know?
Because I want roommates to be a good thing, but if we
Definitely.
begin making roommates as our first thing, it's not going to be good.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, that's quality assurance, is getting used to ourselves. Because if we started episode 1 of Roommates, I think we've talked about this once. If we start with episode 1 of Roommates before we've done anything else, by the time we get to season 3, it's going to show. Like, season 1 is going to look
It's
really,
gonna be terrible.
it's going to look so bad. And
Yeah.
we're going to rewatch it and be like, this is not what I envisioned. This is not the Roommates that I envisioned. So, I don't know. I'm just glad that we're trying now.
Yeah.
In some form, we're trying. Which, everything starts with trying. Baby steps.
We'll get
And
somewhere.
yeah, and baby steps and piece of bites. Now, the other thing that I was thinking, AWR wise, is we are using our screen names.
Hmm.
That was something that I kind of realized that here on the podcast, I call you Brian. That's your name. And you call me Tony. That's my name. But when it comes to the AWR, if we say things along the lines of like Tony or Brian or KC or Hector or Harrison, if we say those names, any of the members, any one of us, let's say someone's a newcomer to the AWR series. They start at a late video, maybe even like a recent posted video. They're going to look at those screen names and they're going to hear like Tony or Hector or something. They're going to hear that and have no idea.
Well, what I used to do in the old AWRs, when I edited a few of them, is just at the end of the video, I would have a list of our screen names with a list of our real names next to them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did with all of them when we were doing the AWRs. But I'm just starting to think we can take that entire bit of it out by just making our screen names what our names are for the sake of recording and then taking them back. And that's just an idea. I mean, we don't have to do it, but I feel like it would just be easier for comprehension of the viewer and newcomers. As soon as they hear KC or Brian or any of the names, they'll look at the HUD like the Payday video. You can see the screen names, the Steam screen names at the bottom. You can see all of the player names of everyone that's playing. And if someone says KC, and let's say you're asking Casey a question, and Casey hasn't even shown up my screen yet as I'm recording, they're gonna have no idea who you are and what you're talking about. They're gonna be like, this one guy's voice is saying KC, and who's KC? He's the other guy talking, but I see only one guy moving on the screen right now,
Right.
and that's apparently this Tonic Thunder guy. So I feel like things would be a little smoother if we did it that way, and I've seen a lot of people on YouTube will do this thing where, I mean, they'll still use their screen names, but it's usually very few people. We are going to have party games going on here, and we don't have multiple recordings of all of our different viewing angles to prove who's playing and who's doing what. And I feel like identification can get kind of shaky because of that.
Okay, yeah.
And because we change our names all the time.
Yeah.
So, like, like right now, you have Hoxton the Red-Nosed Heister, but it used to be El Tronorino, but that used to be El Duderino. Like, we cycle through names because of humor, and we just like playing around like that. And if we do that in the videos too, it's gonna get confusing.
So, what do you propose as a solution?
I think, for the sake of the recording, I will tell everyone beforehand that we're gonna have to change our names to what we just identify each other as. Like, I don't call you by your screen name. You're Brian. You're my friend. I'm gonna call you Brian. I'm not
Right.
gonna start calling you your screen name because we're recording. And I mean, I swear I call you all the time. It's what I call you in Bitflake Studios, and everyone else. We all call each other by our names, our nicknames. So I think, by the common name, we should change our screen name for the sake of the recording, for just easier identification.
To an actual name?
Like, yeah, like I'll put down Tony. You'll put down Brian.
Okay.
You don't need to do like the full name, just like Tony, Brian. Something quick and simple, just to make it easier for the viewer. And I mean, it doesn't have to be. I guess what I'm saying is I just want to do this for the sake of recording. We don't have to keep it like that.
Okay.
I think it'll help. Because I was watching, as I was reviewing the Payday 2 footage of our last recording, I realized, like, I thought about that. As I was editing or just watching through it, I was like, if I was a random viewer who just came across the video, what would I instantly think?
That would be confusing, yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the names, the screen names. I was like, all right, there's guys playing Payday 2. And then, like, we would call each other our names in some form, and I was like, all right, who's Brian? I haven't seen Brian on screen yet. And even if I'm sitting there staring at you in the game and like saying something to Brian, how do they not know that Brian could be the other character?
Right.
They don't know. So I think it would make more sense to do that. And they would know, like, because they could even think, like, me, the guy voicing, like, the viewpoint, they could think I'm one of the other characters and Brian is the guy playing.
Right.
They won't really know what's going on until they watch a whole bunch of AWRs to finally get acquainted. And the thing is, YouTube, I mean, when it comes to YouTube, the first 15 seconds or the first identification of things is what will get someone to continue watching a video. And if they have no idea who is who, what is what, and what's happening, they're going to click off.
Yeah.
So I think identification becomes very important.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. I think we should start doing that. Where applicable.
Then, before playing, I mean, if the game shows it and if it's necessary, like if it's a 1 versus 1 game, like we just spoke of Pool Nations, I mean, I guess we probably should because I think it still shows it.
We
But
should still do that, yeah.
yeah, but like it'll become more apparent when there's less people. But even when there's 3 people, it can already start to get confusing.
I'm just thinking about games where you have like we have I know we probably won't make a video on an MMO, but a video like an MMO where
Yeah.
we already have characters that have names.
Yeah,
Like we obviously couldn't do it there.
I think if we wanted to do that game, that is a situation where we would use the credit sequence, the old way of doing it, to give people an idea of, what's going on.
Because like if we were to play Torchlight, like
Yeah, that's when we would definitely have to do the old title secret sequence thing, or we would just have to make new characters and just put our names down.
yeah.
Which, I mean, we're not that far in a game like Torchlight right now anyway. I know that was only an example. Now, for a game that we're a lot further in, I don't really know what we could do other than the credit sequence thing, or just truthfully avoid that game
Yeah.
for the sake of an AWR.
Because I can't think of one now, but I'm sure there is a game where that is the
Definitely.
case.
Definitely, yeah. Most games that are connected to Steam directly should be fine.
Yeah.
But games where you have to like make a username and it stays like saved to your profile data. I think Borderlands actually is one of those games.
Uh,
Does that follow your Steam name?
That's Borderlands 2 and actually Borderlands 1 now are both in Steamworks, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's fine.
Because I remember one of them wasn't that way.
Borderlands 1 used to still be on GameSpy, but that shut down, so it's on Steamworks now.
That's right. I forgot. So I always forget GameSpy was ever a thing.
Yeah, it's
like
weird.
GameSpy was more prevalent to me in like the Renegade days, Command and Conquer Renegade, when I used to play that all the time, or Command and Conquer Red Alert. I used to use GameSpy to connect to people all the time, and now it's like not even a thing anymore.
Yeah, I remember being in Battlefront 2 because I used to play that on PC like all the time.
I also forget that was a PC game.
Yeah,
I ended up getting that for the console
uh,
a long time ago, and the first Battlefront.
yeah. It's like hearing about like THQ shutting down. Like it was big when it was announced, like oh my god, but now it's like they're not making games, so I don't really think about them anymore.
Pretty much, yeah. Whatever happened to Battlefront 3, or like all the things that have been leaked about it?
It's coming out next year, I think.
Really?
Yeah, they're getting close, I think.
Didn't something happen where like they were in development and then they dropped it, but then they picked it back up, or someone picked it up?
Oh yeah, it was in development by the same company as Battlefront 2, but it got cancelled, and now DICE has picked it up.
Interesting.
Which worries me.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want it to be Battlefield with lightsabers.
yeah. My hopes for DICE still come back to like the Battlefield 1942 and Battlefield 2 days, but because they've
That's
made
a
games
long
like...
time ago.
Yeah, I know that's the problem though. Because I also think Battlefront and Battlefront 2 came out during that time period, and I just hope maybe they'll kind of like put their mindset back then. But that's wishful thinking.
Because it's like, oh, the new SimCity will be good. Maxis is making it. Are they though? Yeah. Are they? Is it really Maxis or is it someone else?
I hope they don't screw it up. I really hope they don't screw it up. They're just calling it Star Wars Battlefront, apparently.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be called... They're calling it Star Wars Battlefront, not Battlefront 3.
Oh, yeah, they are. Wow.
Like, they think they can replace my childhood, because that's not going to happen.
It better be good. It has to be good, or else everyone is going to hate them forever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, like, companies and stuff like that, Ubisoft and the freaking release
Oh my god, Ubisoft.
What are they doing? What are they doing? Like, I want to go play an EA game now.
Oh my
and actually
god.
be happy that it's not Ubisoft.
Ubisoft is just jumped off the deep end, like...
Within the span of, like, 5 seconds, they just kind of jumped.
Within, like, 5 months. Like, ever since Watch Dogs was released, everything they touched has died.
Yeah! You know, you're right. Seriously.
Like, Black Flag was actually a good game. Like, I don't like that it killed the story, but it was a good game.
It really was.
But Unity is just, like they're committing suicide, almost. Very slow suicide.
So many bugs! So many bugs, compatibility issues. Like, I watched an entire video on glitches, and that was like in the first few minutes of the game. This guy played for a few minutes and saw like so many things going wrong.
And there's mandatory mobile app integration and microtransactions and...
Microtransactions in a single-player game. That has nothing to do with cosmetics or anything else. This should be a story-driven game.
Yeah.
And they're throwing down I don't know if it's cosmetics. I think it's like something about the chests that you can unlock in the game.
You get boosts. It's like, you know how in Assassin's Creed 3, as you progress through the story, you would get new equipment?
Yeah.
You can choose to buy the equipment before it actually happens in the story.
Why?
Yeah.
That's... What? Okay. I see this kind of DLC happening. Like, it's fine to have single-player games with DLC, but it's not fine to have these microtransactions or these boosts. Because, like, I mean, even in a game, like, this is an example. Sleeping Dogs has this one DLC, I think it's Sleeping Dogs, where you can get this DLC and it gives you, like, money as soon as you, like, place yourself into the game, and gives you like something else as soon as you start. You're like already equipped with something. I forget what it is, but Even that DLC bothers me for single-player games, but at least it's not overbearing where it's like a boost and you can jump further into the progress of the game in some way.
Yeah. It's actually Dishonored. And I played through it, and it was the vanilla game because it had just come out, and it was a great game. And I bought the deluxe edition on Steam, which comes with a DLC. And there's a DLC that gives you like everything in the beginning of the game. And I'm just like,
Why?
Why? This game is about progression, and why would you just give me everything at the beginning of the game?
I can understand maybe people that beat the game a few times already would be okay with doing that, so like they can start at the game and just mess around.
And thankfully it's optional. I don't take it.
Yeah, seriously.
Because basically, they give you a bunch of items in the room that you stay in. They give you a bunch of money. And there's a bunch of these items that give you passive buffs that you're supposed to just find throughout the course of the game.
Yeah.
But it's just... It seems stupid. I don't want to do that.
Well, you're buying your way through the game.
It's just... Well, because each of the levels should be balanced around what you have and don't have.
Oh, yeah.
So giving me way too much and then playing that first level just feels wrong.
It feels like you just beat the game without doing anything.
And there's a certain merit to that, like New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Like Jack 3, I think, had the best New Game Plus. And that makes sense because you've already beat the game. But if I'm just going into this game wanting to play through the campaign like normal, there's no reason for any of that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't understand why. I mean, I do understand why they make those kind of DLCs, and it's to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really think anyone logically thinks, oh, I think someone would love to buy this DLC after they beat the game 10 times. No. They're going to put it out there and be like, someone will buy it. And I'm pretty sure that's generally the idea behind that kind of DLC.
Yeah.
There is no logical reason to buy that before you even start playing a game. And some people, I mean, it kind of screws over people that like get DLC included with their purchases. Like on Steam, you get those occasional bundles where like you can buy a game plus all DLC, and the DLC might be great, but they'll include that poison that gives you everything when you start the game.
Oh yeah, that's the thing with Dishonored. Like I just bought the deluxe edition. Edition. It's just I didn't want any of that. It's just I have it now.
Yeah, exactly. And I hate that. I hate that they do that. That should be something that they keep out of like bundles.
I'm glad it's optional in Dishonored, but I know a lot of games where it's not.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, I think the majority of games are not that way. In fact, it's kind of surprising to hear that Dishonored is one of the few that is that way. I've still yet to play that game, actually.
You should play it. It's a pretty good game.
So I hear, and have been hearing.
It's a love-or-hate game.
There's
a lot of people who don't like it. And I understand why, but...
Yeah. I think I will. I mean, from some of the gameplay I've seen, it looks really cool.
It's very close to a really good game, but it falls short.
Yeah.
In, like, every aspect. And I think that's why people don't like it.
I see.
So, there's a lot of good stuff, but it seems like it could have been, like, a little bit better.
Yeah. I'll definitely give it a run at some point. I mean, I have it, and I still haven't played it, but when I get the chance, when I give myself that time, I will definitely be running through that game. I'm just disappointed in Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And I will be for a very long time. I don't know if they're gonna be able to get my forgiveness.
I was ready to buy Far Cry 4 on release day.
Oh.
But now I'm gonna be looking very closely at what it actually is.
Oh yeah. I think it's gonna be like an open world, you need to buy this location game.
If it has any of that, I'm not going to be buying it.
Oh yeah.
That's just no.
There's no, it's not a game anymore. It's like you're like playing Monopoly. And it's not fun. With real money. So I guess at some point we need to start writing the short then.
We do need to start writing this short at some point. Did we talk about everything you wanted to talk about on the podcast, or do you want to mention something else?
There's nothing else that I can really think of that's worth of discussion for the podcast now.
Okay, so that's a podcast.